Viking warrior tomb belonged to a woman, researchers confirm. The authors of the 2017 study repeat their findings and explore deeper into the mysteries of the grave in the Viking village of Birka in a new publication. Archaeologists excavating the Viking village of Birka, Sweden in 1878 discovered a unique elaborate 10th century burial tomb thought to contain the remains of a renowned warrior. A sword, spear, shield and 2 horses were among the weapons found at the site, as well as a game board that was likely used to plan military strategy. It was one of the just 2 whole sets of weaponry found among the 1,100 Birka burials discovered on the settlement, underscoring its significance. Consider this: if the deceased's final resting location was not enough to persuade you of his or her distinct social position, consider this. According to Becky Little of History.com, historians have conclusively determined that the soldier in question was not a guy, as had long been supposed. Archaeologists initially unveiled the surprise finding of the lady warrior in a 2017 paper published in the American Journal of Physical Anthropology, guided by extensive genome sequencing. However, as Laura Gegel of Life Science explains, skeptics immediately erupted in anger, questioning whether the researcher had analyzed the correct set of the bones, overlooked the presence of a male warrior sharing the grave, or failed to consider whether the grave actually belonged to a transgender man. The authors of the original paper have now published a follow-up study which reaffirmed their initial finding, going further into the mysteries of the grave. The most recent research addresses many of the critics' concerns, while the challenge of judging gender in such a long-ago culture points out. According to the analysis, there has significant proof of the deceased's standing. The weaponry found in the tomb was axe, fighting knife, lance, shields, and 25 armor-piercing arrows are in extraordinary abundance and variety, indicating the deceased likely career as a skilled mounted archer. Domestic tools, on the other hand, are missing from the grave, which one identify which Viking woman. The presence of a full gaming set including 3 antler dice and 28 playing pieces, as well as the supposed warrior's guard. Out of these hints, complete game sets are frequently found in association to Viking military leaders, according to the authors, while the individuals lining and tasseled caps suggest cavalry commanders under the immediate authority of a royal war leader. Finally, as Yegel pointed out, for tomb location on the outskirts of Birka shows it was visible from both the sea and the town. The spot, which was marked by a massive stone boulder, would have been recognized by everybody as the burial site of a presumably high-ranking member of the community. A science alert Carrick assesses the rights. Most of the justification for the suggested warrior's misidentification as psychologically mal arises from earlier archaeologists' frequent designation of sex based on a grave's content rather than scientific bone research. It's worth noting, as the authors of the new study point out, that male biological sex was not only associated with a man's gendered identity, but also that warriorhood was thought to be an exclusively masculine endeavor at the time of the grave's discovery. As Michael Greshko of National Geographic stated in 2017, female warriors have long been a part of Viking legend. However, it required a team lead by Charlotte Hedestriane Johnson, an archaeologist at Uppsala University in Sweden, to completely refute the notion that such people only existed in fiction. The researchers detected no indication of E chromosome, which indicate male biological sex, after extracting the warrior's mitochondrial and nuclear DNA. They also concluded that the mitochondrial DNA from all bones analyzed matched and so belonged to one XX individual, refuting skeptic claims. One of the main points highlighted by skeptics of the 2007 study, according to historical Little, was if the warrior was transgender guy. Is a modern political, intellectual, and Western concept, and as such is hard to apply to persons from the more distant past. The authors write in the new research, however, the researchers are quick to point out that many more possibilities, spanning a wide gender spectrum, some may be unknown to us, but familiar to the people of the period, can not be ruled out. Alternative possibilities for the solo burial, according to Life Sciences JJ, include the possibility that the weapons buried with the lady were not reflective of her position in life, or rather constituted a symbolic proxy identity. The most evident and logical conclusion, according to studies authors, is that the person in question was a woman who lived as a professional fighter and was buried as such. Hedestriane Johnson, speaking to Little, presents a concluding counter-argument to the debate, since the site was excavated in the 1870s. It has always been understood as a warrior cemetery because it looks like a warrior grave. It's positioned by the garrison and by the hill fort, she says. No one ever disputed it until the skeleton was shown to be female, at which point it was no longer a valid interpretation.